Chris time. More like, yes, Chris time.
Hey everybody, I'm Tom Vassell and welcome to Week in Review. Every week we put this video, which tells you about the week, and then we review it. Well, not really. We're telling you about our videos, giving you short summaries of them, and if you're interested, we'll have links for you for the full videos. So let's get started.
Hey everybody, I'm Z Garcia. Here's what I did last week. So I reviewed Conservas, which I rated a 6 out of 10. This is a solo-only game in which you are fishing, you are canning things, selling those things, trying not to fish too much, and making sure you make enough money to win the game. The game comes with many months, and each month is supposed to be sort of an alternate way to play. One of my issues was those months didn't really feel that different, and I also thought that the game was kind of fiddly, because you're taking all of these tokens, throwing them in a bag, shaking that, and then you draw 5, arrange them, draw 5, arrange them, do that a few times. It can be a little annoying to play this game physically. It's one of those games that I wish had an app implementation. Perhaps I would sort of, become a little addicted to it if I was doing it that way. As it is now, I find it a little too fiddly. I like the theme, and I enjoyed some of the ideas it had, but it needed a little more oomph for me. I thought the tactics and strategy didn't really change that much as I played from session to session. I also reviewed Herbon, which I rated a 7.5 out of 10. This one's also a solitaire game. Generally, you can play with 2. And this is second edition of Herbon. The original one came out some time ago, and this new one has new artwork, different box size, and several new expansions in there. In the game, you are trying to balance out these cities by playing positive and negative cards around the central cities, and then clearing those and banking them. Do that enough times without the deck of cards running out, you win the whole thing. I like the game. I don't like it as much as some of the other games in the same Omniverse series of games. Those I find to be a little more dreamy. Many of them are able to take you to this sort of fantastical, dreamlike world, and the artwork helps, and the weird, strange, dreamlike settings help. This one's a little more mathy than it is dreamy. And unfortunately, that robs it of a little bit of that immersion. I thought some of the expansions also just really kind of moved the math around. And those make the game a little bit bigger, a little bit longer, but it didn't feel like they changed the formula, really. Some of the expansions did. They give you new, interesting, funky things to think about. But several of them just... like I said, they kind of move the math around. You now have more symbols, but worse over here. It's something good, something bad. Something good, something bad. And they just move the math around. So there you go. That's Herbon. But I do like it. And I think it's part of the series. It's a very strong series. It's somewhere in the middle of the pack. But it is a fun solitaire game. I certainly would recommend it. So that's going to do it for me, everybody. I'll see you on the next one.
Hey everybody, I'm Joey Evans, and here's what I reviewed this week. First off, I looked at it's Wednesday Creatures and Outcast. It's a card shedding game, and it's pretty light, it's fun, not really hugely thematic, but it's enjoyable, especially for the family. And I gave this a 6.5. Also Seti, which is a very large Euro type game that, very space-oriented game. But it actually is very straightforward. I enjoyed this a lot. It's a bit long at 40 minutes a player, but I really enjoy my plays of this, from the space to the aliens to just launching the probes. It's great. Gave this an 8.5. So those are the 2 games that I reviewed this week.
Hi, I'm Wendy Ye, and it has been a fabulous week for reviews for me. So I have 2 games this week. The first is Jewels for the Emperor Penguin. Now this is a kid's game, but it's a solid game. I very much enjoyed it. It's got an interesting mechanism where you are bumping up penguins up a mountain. So you're moving your penguins all up, but if one happens to move in the space of another one of your penguins, you can choose to move it up, or you can choose to have it slide down the cliff of the mountain. And there's benefits for going up higher, there's benefits for sliding down, and you can kind of create a whole little circle of penguins if you happen to roll the right dice or can manipulate the dice so that they can work just right for you. This one I had a lot of fun. I gave it an 8, so check out that review if you're interested in super cute penguins. The next one is Next Station Paris. This one I also gave an 8 to. This is the third in the line of the Next Station games. And the couple things that make this different and unique is that it has a giant space in the middle that a ton of different routes can connect to for the Olympic Stadium in Paris. And then it also, instead of getting the player abilities just kind of handed along with your pencil like in the first game, you have to reach the far edge corners to be able to trigger specific powers. And then, of course, there's some interesting crossovers, like intersections, and some wild spaces. So there's some cool stuff going on. This one's a little bit more complicated than the original, but still a fabulous game. Great roll and write, worth checking out. Well, let's go ahead and see who is next on the list.
Hey there, everybody. It's Mike Deliso, and this week I reviewed 2 games. First up, we have Ovation, which I rated a 7.5. This is a really charming game themed around classical music. It's an engine building game where cards you get are going to power up actions that you'll be taking. You're trying to put on these spectacular performances and get the most points doing so. Really solid game. Next up is Rebirth. Rebirth is the newest tile-laying game from designer Reiner Knizia. I gave Rebirth an 8, a strong 8. It was just tickling at the 8.5. It's a very, very simple rules game with a lot of nice decisions involved. Basically, you're going to have a random tile that's face down. You're going to pick it up and you're going to place it on this map and score points accordingly. It's got a bit of a point salad type of a feel, but what happens off of that simple little decision is really, really where the meat and the heart of the game is. Very interactive game is Rebirth. All right, well, that's going to do it this week. This is Mike Deliso.
Hey everybody, this is Chris. This week I took a look at quite a few games, so I'll go through them quickly. The first of which was Conservas. I gave a 6. An interesting, neat solo bag building, bag maintenance game that didn't sing for me. It's a little repetitive, and I wish that the breadth of choices was a little bit wider, but one I can see a lot of other people enjoying more than me. This one's a 6. Wednesday, Creatures and Outcasts, I gave a 6.5. It's kind of where I'm at with this one. An interesting card-shedding game, but not quite good enough to really stand out in a nice market. But you know what? It's light enough that if you pick this up because you like the Wednesday TV show, you're not going to have a bad game. Ovation, 7.5. This is a neat engine building game with a great amount of theme, musical compositions and stuff. Love that. I enjoy the look, even though it's kiddish, but I think that this is a Gizmos-esque game about engine building, tucking cards, firing off more and more powers. Herbon, a 7.5. This is the new edition of Shadi Torbey's game from Impatience. I like these solo games. I also like playing these sometimes 2-player. Neat idea of trying to balance left and right side of cards. You can discard cards for few special abilities, and then it has lots of modules that are just neat and change up the variability of the game. So 7.5. Jewels of the Emperor Penguin, I gave an 8. This is a game that is a bit like Istanbul, about you have a board made up of tiles, you're moving around them, but you have this fun ability to bump your penguins, your cute penguins around, and kind of try to make like a really long chain to take stronger actions moving up top. This is one of those games that kind of punches above its weight class. It looks like it's going to be a very light game, but it's got some nice decisions while still being very approachable. Rebirth, an 8. This is a Reiner Knizia tile-laying game that I enjoy. You are limited to one tile you draw at the end of your last turn, and you're trying to think about where to place it out there. Lots of ways to combo points, lots of ways to trigger special abilities, fight for majorities, fight for those castles. I like this one, despite its ridiculous lack of theme. Seti, an 8.5. This is for me, feels like a very modern take on terraforming Mars, but with a little bit more open nature to what you want to do. A lot of great mechanisms, very heavy game, too much to describe here, but difficult to learn. But I think as soon as you play your second game, things will click a lot better. And then lastly, Next Station Paris. I gave a 9. This is the same rating I give to Next Station London, Tokyo, and Paris. I like this trilogy so much. Great flip and right games to not overlook. This is a good one. I would recommend still Next Station London's the best entry point, but this one's very fun. Lots of high scores to be had. So that, folks, has been my week.
All right, for me, Ovation, a game about music, an engine building game, a lot of little things in there I like, and Just an enjoyable little game, almost a little too long, but I still liked it a lot. 7 out of 10. And Rebirth. Of course, after watching the video, you might think I don't like the game. There's a lot of things I do like about it. I think it's a very enjoyable Reiner Knizia game. A 7 out of 10. I think it's a little too lucky to love it, but I think it's a solid game. Then we reviewed Jewels of the Emperor Penguin, an 8 out of 10 for me. This game about changing gems and other gems by moving and bumping penguins and then sliding down a mountain is pretty strategic. I was very happy with it. 8 out of 10. Then some really cool stuff. I took a look at the Marvel United Civil War, where you can play team against team. Forget the bad guy, take the bad guy out. We just fight each other. It's a nice diversion from the regular game. 8.5. The new Heroescape stuff, more terrain, and a couple new bunch of winged Kyrie creatures and a massive robotic spider, also fun. 8.5. And then Seti, the search for extraterrestrial life. Really am enjoying playing this one also. Lots of different things in this game. So many options, so many things to do. I like it best with 3, but a very solid game, 8.5. And that's it, folks. We also, did a top 10 list. We played some games live. Many different things happened this past week. I did my blogs when I went to the CMON convention in Thailand, so check that out. Until next time, I'm Tom Vasson. You've been watching Week in Review on the Dice Tower. Hey folks, thanks for watching another one of our videos. If you like our videos, if you like our channel, if you would love to game with us at one of our conventions, check out Dice Tower Cruise, Dice Tower East, and Dice Tower West. Fantastic conventions where we play games with wonderful people, a humongous library, and lots of other events and stuff. Also, don't forget to check out our channel, like and subscribe. I'm Tom Bassel.